News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Live at 4. We made it to Friday.
We made it to Friday.
Yeah.
Happy summer.
Happy summer. Here we go. Yeah.
It's the first day of summer. It's the longest day of the year today.
Yeah, and we are kicking off summer with quite the bang. We are starting off with Blaze Keller out on the weather patio with an alert day, not for storms, but for extreme heat.
So, Blaze, what do people need to know going into this first official day of summer? I guess it's tonight, right? Is the summer solstice later tonight?
Yes, I believe it happens right around 9, maybe 40-ish, 9:50 Central Time, so obviously an hour earlier there out east. That's going to be the longest point of the day, and then we're set to warm on up. So for folks who want to get outside today and enjoy the nice start to summer, do, because if you don't like the heat, tomorrow and through the rest of the weekend is going to be a little bit on the tougher side. A heat advisory in effect for everybody essentially until 7 p.m. this evening. Wisconsin is one of a handful of states completely under some sort of heat-related alert, advisory, or warning. So that just shows you how much of that heat is expanding across the Midwest. We're going to have alert days Saturday through Monday for that heat. Tomorrow we're climbing into the low 90s, but it's going to feel like the low 100s. Plenty of sunshine, southerly winds, dew points in the 70s. It is going to be a tough one out there. So plan now, but you know what? It's coming right around when we normally get our first 90-degree day, which is about June 24th. We're a few days ahead of schedule, but kind of typical for this time of year. We're going to break down the rainy week ahead and the cool down as well in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. You can track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn Weather app. It has hourly planners, road conditions, and radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC weather.
And we will continue to cover the incoming heat that's taking over Wisconsin this weekend. Dane County issued a heat advisory Saturday afternoon until Monday night.
And this is happening during a very busy Saturday. There are several outdoor events planned this weekend. Our Tanisha Shaw has more on how you can stay safe outside this weekend.
The Madison Farmers Market, the Juneteenth celebration, and the Naked Bike Ride are returning to the capital city this Saturday during what's expected to be the hottest weekend of the year so far. It's important to stay safe and not overheat while outside at these events. Many of them involve a lot of walking in extreme heat.
You start feeling like you're getting too warm, get someplace cool. And I mean indoors, in the shade, someplace where you can cool down.
Hundreds of bikers will raise awareness for oil use and body positivity with the Naked Bike Ride.
If you're considering doing the ride and you are worried you might not do so well in the heat, come next year. Do not risk it. It's a fun event to question our dependence on oil and to celebrate body positivity, but we do this every year.
Holly McEntee helps organize the bike ride and says she's urging bike riders to bring water and to stop riding if they're feeling exhausted.
Sunscreen, really, really important. Watch out for each other. You know, if you see somebody struggling, we will have field medics on the ride with us.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you, and we'll continue to monitor the weather throughout the weekend. Coming up tonight at 5, Tanisha will talk to Dr. Harkin about the signs you should look for to avoid heat stroke.
We are learning more about the couple who has been charged in a plot to poison women in Dane and Rock counties.
What was his first name? Paul Van Dyne. Sorry about that. Paul Van Dyne appeared in Dane County Court earlier today, and we are still waiting on Andrea Whitaker's appearance. In Rock County, Andrea Whitaker and Paul Van Dyne are charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide, aggravated battery, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, and stalking resulting in bodily harm.
In Dane County, Van Dyne is charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide and felony stalking. His bail was set at $10 million today. Again, we are still awaiting Whitaker's appearance in court. Ellie LaLiberte joins us with the details from the criminal complaint. Ellie?
Well, Susan and Brady, the Dane County victim said she is still scared for her life in court today. She spoke virtually to the court as it determined that bail for Van Dyne. Now, we've also received these criminal complaints from both counties. They say Whitaker and Van Dyne stalked and tried to kill the Rock County victim 3 times and the Dane County victim twice. Now, here's a timeline of both of those plots. Let's start in Rock County. On April 26th. The victim says she took a drink from her gym water bottle that caused her to vomit. The water in that bottle tested positive for cyanide. On May 4th, she got into her car and noticed a smell so strong that she got a ride home instead of driving in her car. Detectives believe it was hydrogen sulfide. Then on May 7th, her stepfather, while cleaning her car, said he found brown powder in the air vents. The substance tested positive for abrin, a chemical that can be fatal in even small amounts. The Rock County victim was hospitalized early May for poisoning. And according to the complaint, she and Van Dyne had a brief relationship. Now let's go to the Dane County victim. On May 15th, the victim left Costco and found her car broken into. Now, nothing was stolen, but she says the water in her bottle tasted weird, so she spit it out. That water tested positive for cyanide. Then on May 20th, a similar situation occurred, and according to the complaint, a bystander noticed Van Dyne trying to break into her car, but when he was confronted, he walked away. The Dane County victim said she only went on a couple of dates with Van Dyne. We've changed her voice to protect her privacy.
I am scared for myself. I'm scared for my 2 children. I cannot sleep soundly. I cannot focus at work or be fully present at home because I'm constantly bracing for what Paul and Andrea might do next. I've taken every possible step to protect my children and myself. I've installed a home security system. I've had people staying with me around the clock. I've even hidden my car, and I still don't feel safe.
And according to the criminal complaint on Whitaker's phone, there are 2 searches for the Dane County victim and 96 searches for the Rock County victim. There are also 125 searches for various chemicals, including their lethal doses. And tonight at 10, I'll show you the communication between Whitaker and Van Duyn that the prosecution says could be a smoking gun in this case.
We will see you at 10 tonight, Ellie. Thank you very much. We're also learning more details about a shooting in Janesville Tuesday that took the lives of 3 people. Police now say that shooting was a murder-suicide. The shooting happened just before 11 Tuesday morning at the Aspen Square apartment complex. Officers found 1 person unresponsive with a gunshot wound, as well as 3 others who were shot. 1 person is still in critical condition, and police have just released the names of those killed. They are 21-year-old Jaharius Wicks, 25-year-old Julie Civiker, and 55-year-old Scott Roberts.
In Milton, a person is recovering from severe injuries after a boat crash yesterday afternoon, just before 6 on Lake Koshkonong. First responders were called to the Dolman boat landing. Investigators say a pontoon boat collided with a john boat on the lake. 6 people were on the pontoon. 1 suffered a minor injury, and 3 people were on the john boat, with 1 suffering a serious injury and taken to the hospital.
The chairman of the Chestertown Board is facing felony animal abuse charges after allegedly choking a dog to death with a leash. Richard Van Buren was arrested after a woman brought a lost golden retriever to his property for safekeeping. According to the criminal complaint, Van Buren became angry as the golden retriever was barking, fashioned a leash into a noose, and pulled the dog through a car window where it bit him. He then allegedly lifted the dog off the ground by the leash until it went limp.
A federal judge in Rhode Island has blocked the Trump administration from using states' cooperation with immigration efforts as a condition for receiving transportation funds. 20 mostly Democratic-led states, including Wisconsin, filed a lawsuit last month. It aims to prevent the Department of Transportation from cutting off billions of dollars in funding if the states refuse to comply with the federal immigration enforcement. President Trump has used federal funding as leverage amid policy disagreements with different states and organizations. Hormel is suing rival sausage maker Johnsonville, accusing 2 former employees of stealing trade secret recipes and market data and taking them to the competition. Hormel also claims one of them tried to recruit coworkers, violating a non-solicitation agreement. The company is demanding the return of confidential files and monetary damages. Johnsonville has not commented. Last year, Americans spent $8.5 billion on sausages and hot dogs, proving there is a lot at stake in this standoff.
Next at 4, a major study links permissive gun laws to a rise in child and teen deaths. We'll talk with the Wisconsin anti-violence effort coming up next.
And the summer solstice is happening tonight. What time to expect it? And Blaze has the forecast where summer is really getting off to a heated start. Summer officially begins in the U.S. at precisely 9:42 this evening. Pretend I'm wearing a watch. That's the exact moment of the summer solstice, when the northern hemisphere is tilted closest to the sun. It's the start of astronomical summer, although meteorologists mark the beginning of summer on June 1st. The summer solstice marks the longest day and the shortest night in the northern hemisphere.
It's going to be a hot one this first day of summer, but we're not going to complain because summer is such a short season in Wisconsin. We'll just get through the next 3 days, but heads up, it is going to be unusually hot.
That's right. We're tracking 90s as we head into the weekend, and to piggyback off of what Brady was mentioning, the Arctic Circle is getting 24 hours of daylight today, whereas the Antarctic Circle receives 0 hours of sunlight today. And starting tomorrow, the hours of daylight per day get shorter and shorter. So enjoy the sunshine while it's here, but know that as we head into the weekend, it is going to be hot. It is going to be humid. Dew points in the 70s, temperatures in the 90s. We're going to have the winds out of the south, and it's coming right around the time when we usually see our first 90-degree day, which is right around June 24th. Last year, we had 8 90-degree days or higher for the entire year. Nothing compared to near 40 back in 2012, but we had a handful of in those teens stretching from 2021 through 2023. So we'll just see how many we get this year, but our average is right about 10. So we're kind of kicking that off in June starting tomorrow. Heat advisories stretching from the Gulf all the way north into parts of southern Canada. In fact, the extreme northeastern parts of Minnesota have issued their first heat advisory in several years because of how hot we're expecting temperatures to get across not only the Midwest but the plains as well. Our heat advisories here locally go from noon on Saturday through 7 p.m. on Monday. It is extremely important that during the daytime and especially the nighttime hours, you're allowing your body to cool on down and you're drinking plenty of water. As temperatures in the red here climb into the low to mid 90s, but with the high dew points, the southerly winds, and the sunshine, it's going to feel like we're in those low 100s. That's what the heat index is. A combination of the dew points, the southerly winds, and the heat that we get from the sunshine. It's the exact opposite of the wind chill that we track, obviously, in the winter. As I mentioned, it is extremely important that overnight you are staying cool and hydrated. It's going to be temperature-wise, upper 70s to low 80s, ending Sunday going into Monday. So that's going to continue Saturday into Sunday. It is incredibly important that when your body is sleeping and recharging, that you are allowing your body to not be stressed out from trying to cool on down. So if you have AC, obviously you want to turn that on and keep it on at night. Fans as well, anything to keep your body cool, not only during the day, but at night. That's why our risk from heat on Saturday is moderate to major on Sunday to extreme on Monday. We finally say goodbye to this heat as we go into next week. And then we turn on the waterworks. So we'll touch on that here in just a moment. But just like us during the summertime, we need to make sure that the pets, especially dogs, when they're out taking a little break, that their paws stay healthy as well. As air temperatures get into the mid 90s, the concrete is going to get into the low, right around 140 degrees, and asphalt could measure as high as 155 degrees. That is incredibly painful, and we don't want to hurt our furry friends. There is a look at our 10-day forecast. Rain chances return as soon as we cool on down back into the 80s, and they stick around pretty much through the end of our upcoming weekend into the following work week.
That was your dog in that graphic, wasn't it?
That was little cutie Ferdy Birdie when he was not a little rambunctious child, but yes.
Oh, he's a star. Thank you, Blaze. And you can download our First Warn weather app for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC weather. You can track storms, plan ahead, and stay on top of the rapidly developing weather patterns. Since 2020, gun violence has become the leading cause of death of children and teenagers in the United States.
A new study published this week in JAMA Pediatrics shows that states with permissive gun laws had a rise in pediatric deaths, whereas states with stricter gun laws did not. The Wisconsin Anti-Violence Effort, or WAVE Educational Fund, is urging state action in the wake of that study. Tyler Kelly from the WAVE Educational Fund joins us this afternoon. Hi, Tyler. Welcome to Live at 4.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
We're happy to have you. This study is very interesting. It looked at statistics over about a decade and a half, and the study grouped states in 3 buckets based on their gun laws: most permissive, permissive, and least permissive. What bucket was Wisconsin in?
This study grouped Wisconsin as having some of the weakest gun laws in the country.
And what does that mean? What are the consequences of that in this study?
Well, this study said clearly that Wisconsin having the weakest gun laws leads to more of our children dying. I was really moved by the statistic you started this story with, that guns are the leading cause of death of our children in our state, in our country. And what this study says is that that is a policy choice, that stronger gun laws would save our kids' lives.
You know, we've heard from a lot of gun rights activists who will say, responsible gun owners would be targeted by stricter laws, and they also, say gun ownership can deter crimes. I guess, what would your response to that be, for that other side of thinking?
We know that gun owners actually support the policies that we're trying to push for, having a background check on every gun sale. Most gun owners think that that's reasonable. An extreme risk or red flag law is something that has polled time and time again as being popular among gun owners. We really think that some of these basic measures of gun violence prevention, we know they're supported by majorities of Democrats, Republicans, independents, gun owners, non-gun owners. Every category you can create. We know that these things are these measures are popular. The only place that they're not popular are in the halls of Congress and the halls in Madison, because we know that there's politicians that are bought and paid for by the gun lobby that continue to prevent these measures. And what this study is telling us is those politicians are literally killing our children.
Do you think this study will be something that moves the needle? It feels like we talk about this all the time, most recently after the shooting in Minnesota. Will this change hearts and minds?
So I think we've already done a lot to change the hearts and minds. We know that we've changed the hearts and minds of the public, right? We see these statistics that I've been talking about in terms of public opinion. But what I think will very, very likely happen is some of the politicians that have ignored public opinion for so long will lose their seats. We saw right around a dozen in Wisconsin in this past election, members of the state legislature who have refused gun violence prevention lose their elections. I predict that'll continue to happen unless the legislature acts on these popular policy priorities.
And the conversation will continue.
Yes.
Tyler, thank you for being on with us.
Thank you for your time, Tyler. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, we learn more and more details about 3 breaking news stories that we brought you through the week in Dane, Rock, and Dodge counties.
And Josh Spreiter is in the 608 at the Larson House Museum for their Strawberry Shortcake Social. We'll be right back.
Strawberry Shortcake Social is set to return to the Larson House Museum on Sunday.
Josh Spreiter is in McFarland with a tasty preview.
The Strawberry Shortcake Social benefits the McFarland Historical Society, and we're inside the Larson House to learn a little bit more about the Sunday gathering. We have Jane Lick joining us today. Jane, thanks for having us out.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm really excited about our Strawberry Shortcake Social, and I'm excited about the Larson House, of course. It's a lovely Queen Anne-style Victorian home. It was built in 1898 by a man by the name of Ian Edwards, and then in 1911, the Larson family bought it. John Larson was actually a good friend of Ian Edwards. All the time, it was about 80 years that the Larson family lived here, it was kept in pristine condition. But then the one grandchild who inherited it really didn't care about it. And it sat empty for about 20 years, and it just became a terrible eyesore. And the McFarland Historical Society bought it in 2012, and we immediately began restoring it. And the entire community was very conscious of the Larson House. It is in a very prominent location, and we had so many volunteers, and we had so many good local contractors who donated time and materials. It was just very gratifying.
And that's really what it's all about, is, celebrating just how much this community has supported you guys throughout the years, because this is year number 13 that you've kept this going.
That's correct.
And you're the facilities manager, you're a volunteer yourself, so what keeps you coming back to wanting to do this?
Well, it's just a lovely endeavor, and I've always been interested in history, particularly local history. So when we restored this house, we offered naming rights to families, and the requirement was that you had to honor someone who was prominent in McFarland history. And this particular room, the dining room, was paid for by McFarland State Bank. And so we have the history of McFarland State Bank on the walls. Every room actually was, named for somebody special or an organization special in McFarland.
So it's taken the community support, and of course the community is invited out for the Strawberry Shortcake Social on Sunday. So what do people need to know about that event?
Well, it's our major fundraiser. We serve the best strawberry shortcake in Dane County or Wisconsin or beyond. It's really great. We have ladies who go hand pick the strawberries. We have ladies who bake the strawberry shortcake. It's really become a tradition in McFarland.
Yeah, I had a chance to try it earlier on News 3 Now this morning, and it is super tasty. Yes. So this is a great opportunity for the community to come out, have a good time with the family, but also give back.
Exactly. There's lawn games, there's free tours of the house, there's wonderful entertainment. It is really outstanding this year. So we just, again, hope that people really come out for this event. It's really fun.
Awesome. Well, Jane, thank you so much for a tour. We appreciate it. If you'd like to learn more about the Strawberry Shortcake Social or what's happening here at the Larson House for the McFarland Historical Museum, just go to the story app on channel3000.com. In McFarland, I'm Josh Brighter, News 3 Now.
Josh, thank you so much. Doesn't that look fantastic?
Where are our samples?
Yeah. We'll be right back.
News 3 Now, live at 4.
A lot of people are training right now. Busy time on the lakes getting ready for the Ironman and the half Ironman coming up.
Good for that person. I would like to be in the lake with like a floaty, maybe a beverage, just cooling off. I don't need to do all that.
I'm with you, and the weather words are now we sizzle. Hot weekend is on the way. Blaze is out on the weather patio.
Yeah, I'm already not looking forward to the heat and the mugginess that is going to arrive this weekend. Dew points in the 70s at times. Temperatures in the 90s mean it is going to feel like the low 100s as we go throughout the weekend, which is why we have a heat advisory starting Saturday at noon, lasting all weekend through Monday. It expires at 7 p.m. So over the course of the weekend, please make sure that you are drinking plenty of water, staying cool, taking breaks outside, and the same goes for your pets as well, which is why we have alert days throughout the entire weekend. In the meantime, temperatures aren't too bad right now, right around where we should be for this time of year, in the low to mid 80s in Dane County, approaching 90 from Lone Rock, stretching into Prairie du Chien, as well as out there in Kenosha. We're going to continue to climb in temperatures as we go throughout the weekend. Again, we got to get to the 90s as we head into Saturday, which means our overnight lows are going to only be in the 70s tonight. So we are not going to be cooling off a whole lot this evening. We'll take a look at when we do cool down and talk about the rain chances that return next week in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. Public Health Madison Dane County has a few tips to help you stay safe during this heat advisory. Limit your time outside. Try to find cool places to stay, including local libraries, malls, and community centers.
Cooling centers can be found at places like Sun Prairie Public Library or the Neighborhood House Community Center in Madison, and you can find more of those cooling centers on channel3000.com.
Remember to stay hydrated, and of course make sure your pets have water too, and check the pavement with your hand before you take your dogs on walks, because if it's too hot for your hand, it's too hot for their paws.
That's really good advice. Well, to keep an eye on the heat and the storms and any other weather, you can download it for free, our free app. You can find it in the App Store. Just search WISC Weather. The chairman of the town of Chester is facing felony animal abuse charges after allegedly choking a dog to death with a leash.
Our Armand Rahman has the horrific details and a first-hand account from the woman who brought the dog to Richard Van Buren.
Shelby Crone was trying to save this golden retriever from a marsh trail in Horicon. Instead, she may have accidentally taken it to its executioner. According to court documents, Crone says she was told by law enforcement and the Dodge County Humane Society to take the dog to Van Buren, the town of Chester chairperson. Van Buren became angry as the golden retriever was barking, fashioned a leash into a noose, and pulled the dog through a car window where it bit him. He then allegedly lifted the dog off the ground by the leash.
I wanted to save him. why are you doing this? And the next thing I know, he takes that dog's limp body as he's still holding it in the air and throws it in the dog cage.
In his own interview with deputies, Van Buren says he usually keeps a stray dog for 7 days, then he, quote, takes care of it, meaning shoots it. So why was Van Buren reportedly the one in charge of handling stray animals? I asked the Dodge County Humane Society. More from them tonight at 6.
And we're learning new details tonight about what was first thought to be a hazmat incident, now revealed as an alleged poisoning plot. Paul Van Dyne Jr. and Andrea Whitaker are both facing attempted homicide charges after allegedly trying to poison a woman multiple times in Rock County. Prosecutors say they used cyanide, thallium, and deadly gases in a months-long stalking situation. During searches of 3 locations connected to the suspects, authorities found poison-making materials, surveillance devices, and a so-called kill kit. 7 investigators were hospitalized after being exposed to dangerous substances while processing evidence. Police stress there is no threat to the public or to the neighbors near the scenes investigated.
Let's check Wall Street to wrap up the work week on this Friday afternoon. At the close, the Dow closed up 35 points. The Nasdaq was off nearly 100, and the S&P 500 closed down 13.
We are a little less than a week out from the shooting in Minnesota that left 1 lawmaker dead and another injured.
The shooting was believed to be politically motivated, and it raises questions about continued political violence that we've seen in recent years. Political reporter Will Keneally is here with more. Will?
Well, it's not a recent issue. If you think back to last year, then candidate Trump avoided an assassination attempt. And 14 years ago, Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords survived an attempt on her life as well. Now, in the wake of that shooting, she started an organization to track and mitigate gun violence across the country. We spoke with Giffords' policy attorney, Jesse Ojeda, about the state of political violence right now.
I think it's around, last I saw, 1/3 of Americans believe that it's justified to use physical violence to defend the country right now. And upwards of 80% believe that our democracy is under attack. So these numbers are continuing to grow every year, which is deeply concerning because if we don't have democracy, we don't have much else.
Now you can see more from our conversation coming up this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record.
We will see you Sunday, Will. Thank you. Coming up on Live at 4, film critic Will Loper has the Loper Report.
A hot weekend is on the way, so we have the recommendations for movies to watch while staying cool in your house. This might be a good weekend to stay cool in the air conditioning wherever you can find it and find something to binge watch.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
There are several new movies and TV shows now streaming. Film critic Will Loper has 3 new choices to recommend.
In the overworld,
wow,
anything you can dream about, you can create.
You or your children can now chicken jockey to your heart's content at home with a Minecraft movie, newly streaming on HBO Max.
If we want to save this world, creativity is key to survival.
Join Jason Momoa, Danielle Brooks, and Jack Black on an adventure through the blocky world of Minecraft.
Chicken jockey!
I'm driving up here and I see the name Buckley everywhere.
Who would choose to be a part of this family?
We have money and standing.
That sentence should be in the past tense.
Enjoy a new crime drama with The Waterfront, newly streaming on Netflix.
We're struggling. We're gonna lose the restaurant and the harbor. We have to come up with $2 million in less than 3 months.
What are you gonna do? I'm gonna take control of things.
Inspired by true events, the series tells the story of the Buckley family and their attempts to keep their fishing empire afloat.
It's hard to find your way back.
Improv is all about being in the moment.
I want proper work. I'm an actor, I can be anything.
And infiltrate London's gangs with Deep Cover, newly streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
It's a program using improv comics to take down criminals.
200 each. You in?
Bryce Dallas Howard stars as Kat, an improv teacher who goes undercover with 2 of her students impersonating criminals.
This is just another round of improv. When in doubt, drop it. Yes, and.
Anything else?
Yes.
For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
told you not to escalate.
It's where the scene went.
Those all look like good choices.
Yeah, we've got you covered this weekend, so good luck, everyone.
From the movie world back to the real world, we sit down with political analyst Dave Cheslevich. We're going to talk about the state budget that sits in limbo today.
What both sides of the aisle are hoping for and the details that could be made to get it all passed.
We're giving the weather satellite a spin this afternoon. This is a live look at Covington, Kentucky. That looks like a lovely community, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's apparently known for historic architecture, that nice river walk. Beautiful over there.
Very nice. It's always fun to see places you haven't been before. You might want to go. 85 degrees in Kentucky this afternoon. Well, the state budget is in limbo as talks between Governor Tony Evers and legislative Republicans have fallen apart again.
The Joint Finance Committee's executive session was canceled yesterday, shortly before it was scheduled to even start. Political analyst Dave Cheslevich joins us to break down on where things go from here. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Good to see you.
Hi. Good to see. Well, I don't actually see you guys. Good to hear you.
You can picture us. We look very nice today.
I trust you do.
How precarious of a situation is this? The budget maybe not being passed on time.
It really isn't that big a deal. It's not like the federal government. So if the legislature doesn't get a budget passed by a sensible deadline, June 30th, then state government doesn't shut down. It just continues under the old budget. And in fact, I would argue the real deadline is in October. That's because if the legislature doesn't get a budget passed by October, then local governments won't know what their state aid payments are, and they won't be able to pass their own budgets. Property tax bills won't go out on time. Then you got all kinds of problems. But for all intents and purposes, the legislature really doesn't have to act until October. And in fact, that might be good this year because of all the uncertainty at the federal level. Medicaid is the biggest single portion of the state budget. There are proposals in Congress to cut Medicaid significantly. And it might be good for the legislature to hold back, see what happens at the federal level, and then act later on in the summer or early fall.
Otherwise, what do you think could happen to break this impasse? Is there any kind of a deal that the Republicans could cut right now to break the logjam?
Well, it seems like the sticking points are pretty clear, and they've been the same all along. The governor would like substantial increases for K through 12 education, a substantial increase for the UW, some more money for childcare, and a few other things. The Republicans want to push back against spending, and they would like deeper tax cuts. So, the outlines of an agreement have been there from the start. Apparently, they had some negotiations earlier in the spring, which apparently made some progress, but not enough. And now they've got a new problem because a couple of GOP senators apparently are off the budget. And they can only afford to lose one Republican if they're not going to get any Democratic votes. So it doesn't look like the Republicans can even pass a budget at this point.
Well, Dave, thank you very much for being on with us today to help us wade through some of these waters.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good weekend, Dave. Thanks so much.
Well, let's get a look at our very steamy forecast. Blaze is here with, it's pretty hot out there.
That's pretty much all that really I need to say about the weather here is it is going to be hot, it is going to be humid, and it is going to be all of that, but also sunny as we head into the weekend. Enjoy the sunshine while you can and how best you can given the heat, because in our extended forecast, we are in for a couple rainy days to say the least. So this is probably going to be our last real sunny kind of set of days before we head into our following work week. Heat advisory for all of our counties until 7 p.m. Monday evening. That starts at noon on Saturday, but Milwaukee, Kenosha, and Racine counties, they're underneath that extreme heat warning until Monday afternoon. If you are going to be heading to Summerfest this weekend, please make sure that you are staying cool and that you are drinking plenty of water. All other drinks, especially sugary drinks, are going to dehydrate you. Water will keep you hydrated. As temperatures climb into the low to mid 90s, that's that red column here. And then the pink is what it will feel like. That's a combination of the sunshine, the southerly winds, and those dew points. And it's going to feel like we're in those low triple digits during the daytime hours. And even overnight, it is still going to feel warm out. Temperatures as we wake up on Saturday, upper 70s to low 80s. As we wake up on Sunday, upper 70s to low 80s. And as we wake up on Monday, upper 70s to low 80s. Add in a little bit of humidity, likely going to feel like the low 80s. And that's where we normally end for the day in temperature, in terms of temperature for this time of year. So it is incredibly important, especially at night, that you stay cool and hydrated as well. Dew points are hanging out in the 70s all throughout the weekend. It is going to feel as though we are pretty much next to the ocean with these dew points. It is going to feel sticky outside. So again, if you're not a fan of this and you want an excuse to stay inside, you've got it. Just keep the blinds closed. Try to keep the room cool as best you can if you don't have an AC or a fan. A risk from heat Saturday, moderate, and then it becomes major on Sunday to extreme on Monday. So again, water is going to be your best friend this weekend, as well as a fan or the AC. Rainy conditions as we go into the upcoming work week and the weekend. And whether it's heat, rain, storms, or snow, the First Warn Weather app can keep you updated to the minute on the latest weather conditions in your area. Just search WISC weather wherever.
See animals in this situation, but luckily this has a happy ending. A bear that had a plastic lid stuck around its neck for 2 years is finally free of it.
2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, the black bear got its head stuck in a 5-inch hole in the lid when he was just a cub. Now the lid got tighter around the bear's neck as he grew. Ouch. He was hard to track down, but this month staff from Michigan's Department of Natural Resources were finally able to trap and sedate the bear. They removed the lid and determined the bear is healthy. Thankfully, he is now back in the wild. Well,
Good job there.
Ending, yeah.
That's why I always cut the soda things.
Yeah.
I've seen those poor turtles get all misshapen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Good for you.
Well, I tried. I tried to do something, I guess. I don't know. It is going to be hot this weekend, so as I was just talking about soda, that's probably the last thing you want to drink this weekend. But again, I am not your parent. You can do whatever you want this weekend, but water is going to keep you the most hydrated during these hot temperatures. Stay cool, especially during the daytime and at night. Limit your time and your pet's time outdoors. If you don't like rain, try to get out and enjoy the sunshine, because next week does look to be a little bit rainy, but cooler, back into the 80s.
Thank you for your permission, Blake.
You're welcome.
To talk about dangerous heat on the way this weekend, how you can keep your family safe. Thanks for joining us for Live at 4 on this Friday, everybody. We hope to see you back here on Monday. You can catch us 24/7, always streaming on Channel 3000+. Have a great weekend. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.